My name is Isha Jaiswal, winner 2021 and worldwide popular 2021. I'm here to host this debate series, and the topic is very interesting, and it's the topic, the one, should the human rights of both men and women overrule the cultural. And let's see what our contestants are going to say about this debate series. Bharat USA contestants who will be coming for nationals and holding a big talk on probably on December the 9th. So please do welcome all these beautiful contestants. Girls, please do introduce your Sonika here.
Hi everyone, thanks Isha. My name is Sonika Kaushal. I am an IT professional and an entrepreneur, and I am a passionate photographer too, and I do it professionally. So I recently won the title of Mrs. Bharat Elite Ohio 2022, which I'm really proud of, and my family as well. And now I'm really excited to compete in Mrs. Bharat Elite USA competition, and looking forward to meet you all there. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Let's go with Shalini.
Hi, Isha, nice meeting you. My name is Shalini and I work for Intel as an engineering manager. My hobbies, I'm a dancer. I dance Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, Andhra
Nice.
Natyam. And I also sometimes try to sing in Smule. I'm not a professional singer. Uh, I won Miss Bharat USA in the classic category, and I also won the talent round, and I'm the runner-up for the World Popular Vote for Miss Bharat California.
Amazing. Thank you, Shalini, for coming in. And we have Saloni. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well. My name is Saloni Parikh, and I'm in the 8th grade. I enjoy baking, dancing. I actually do Kathak. I play the violin, and I like doing lacrosse. I've also just recently won the first place in the teen category Bharat New England competition, and I'm very excited to compete in nationals.
Amazing. Now we have Faini Patel.
Hi everyone, nice to meet everyone. My name is Penny Patel. I'm 23 years old, and I won first place in the Miss category for New England. A little bit about myself is by profession. I am a registered nurse, and I worked bedside during the COVID pandemic, which has taught me a lot. Currently, I work in research. Pageantry has opened up for me when I did my first pageant, which was actually Miss Massachusetts USA, which definitely a whole new world boost of confidence. And I'm very excited because just recently I signed contract with a New York modeling agency, NYMMG. So I'm very looking forward for modeling and just 5 competitions coming up. So very, very excited.
Now we have Shreya Gupta.
Thank you, Isha. Hi, beautiful people out there. My name is Shreya Gupta. By profession, I am a data scientist and a data science manager, leading a team of 5 at my work. About my hobbies, I really like being in nature, so hiking or any sports activity. Recently, I actually flew a plane, so that's what I'm now working on, getting a pilot license. So that was my Thanksgiving gift to myself. I also like indoor decoration, so that's like my another hobby that I really like to do and enjoy. Um, Recently, I actually got honored by the Miss Bharat Ohio title, and I'm really honored and blessed to get this recognition and really proud of it. And today, I'm really excited to be part of this amazing debate.
Awesome. Let's come to this interesting topic now. Today, again, I want to repeat this topic. Should the human rights both cultural and traditional beliefs. So we can divide into two groups. That would be great. So let's start with Fanny. What do you think about this statement?
So I was actually in support that human rights should be given a priority over culture, not saying that culture is should be shadowed upon or anything. As a nurse, I feel like I've always been taught that we treat patients come from all different backgrounds, all different cultures, um, and above anything, I believe that everyone is human, and the human is a trait that we all share, despite religion or beliefs, because that can be something that can differentiate us. But first, we're all human, so it's very important to be able to put ourselves in other people's shoes and be able to understand how others feel as well as us. So.
Point. Human rights always come first, for sure. So let's go stir in our group here. What are your thoughts? Saloni?
Yeah, sure. So I do completely agree with Benny. And I believe that human rights should overrule cultural traditions because although like culture is protected, certain customs and traditions violate the rights of women and girls. And these cultural practices are basically a direct conflict with the human rights. For example, let's talk about the Mormon culture. For those of you who don't know what the Mormon culture is, it's a religious group who follows Christianity, and in my opinion, too far, because they believe in the old ways and that women and girls should stay in the house all day and that they should cook and clean and do laundry. And while the husband is the man of the house and has to provide for the family. So basically, in this culture, women's rights are being violated, and this mentality is surprisingly still around. Also, in many like Muslim and Eastern cultures, women are brought up to believe that it's their religious duty to clean and cook for their husbands. And most modern day religions have ended this mentality, but some religions still believe this way of life.
Yeah, I agree with you. Very great points here with different cultures following really definitely there are certain norms where we kind of follow them strictly. But thank you for so let's go with Sonika Kaushal here. What are your thoughts about it?
Hi, Isha. Thanks. So, yes, I definitely would go in favor of that statement that human rights should obviously overrule the cultural and traditional beliefs. Why? Let me explain. Culture is not a negative thing, in its own. Culture gives birth to the society. It creates a sense of belongingness when you share the same language, share the same lifestyle, food, clothing, everything. You feel belonged to that culture. And I believe that culture gives you a sense of safety and security too. It shapes the way a community, a society responds and grows over the period of time. And I believe that culture is responsible for giving a society more stability and continuity for future generations. But when the problem arises when a culture doesn't respond to the changing factors. It becomes stagnant, and that stagnation results in stubbornness. Few leaders, a handful people of us of the society, they try to dominate and control the culture for their own sake of ego or benefits or personal agenda. So that control and that stubbornness leads to a number of problems, that leads to the problems that leads to the practices that violate the human rights of not only women but the men. But unfortunately, women get highly impacted by the cultural practices, be it, FGM. We know that, female genital mutilation, that is unfortunately still existing in our society, and in different parts of the world. uh, Talk about, discriminatory marriage practices like dowry. Like, we cannot, in some parts of the world, we cannot even decide who we want to, marry to. And then there is inequality in sex ratio, in still in India and many other countries in Asia. People are discriminating for the birth of, girls and boys. They prefer son, right? And these kind of practices, they undermine the value of women in the society. And this less privileged life gives birth to many other problems like gender inequality, less opportunities for employment, less income for women, and less access to, proper education, proper health services. So definitely, I believe that human rights that that suggest that we should, irrespective of our gender, have freedom to live the life we want in our own way. I think human rights should be available and accessible to everyone, irrespective of their gender, and especially to women, because they are the main victims of cultural practices. Thank you so much, Isha.
Oh, great points put out there, Sonika. You covered a lot. Looks like you talked about some, especially the women. I understand that with the dowry practices and stuff, especially in the like underdeveloped countries, they still practice it. Definitely is a great point there about some other cultural practices where women are getting suppressed and inferior in shown. And that's a great point about inequality, about wages and all within at some part. Definitely, this culture you mentioned about, you started a little bit to defines a personality. That's right. We have to be within certain norms and cultures to our person here. So great points there. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. With Shalini, let's see what she has to say about the statement.
So I
Shalini?
completely agree. So, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So I completely agree with Sonika on many points. The origin of culture is to promote uh, good values and morality in the society and bring the society together, following the traditions and beliefs, so that we all have a set pattern. If we follow that norm, chances are we'll be in a protected environment and we all grow together. But predominantly, the cultural values are patriarchal, meaning they are more male dominated. So, because of that, since ages, women have been suffering, and Sonika brought up some of those points. And to add to that, in some cultures, women has to wear hijab or headscarf or the burqa to cover themselves from head to toe. And if we are not part of those cultures, we think that a woman can be more liberated and certain clothing style doesn't mean anything. For example, if you are in US, you go to the beach, you wear a bikini. You go to the swimming pool, you wear a bikini. But if you are in some other third world countries, maybe it's not accepted. So some of the cultural beliefs have come to a point where they override individual choices, and that's where the Human Rights Commission has stepped in to define the moral values beyond any culture, because we need a global rule to follow so that all cultures, the good values are appreciated.
Oh, great points there. Yeah, you were right. Like underdeveloped countries, like, sometimes culture is great because that's how you want to grow, and the future is watching you, especially the kids. You want that, so they accept what it is, because that's how you know that, okay, this is my culture, this is yours culture. You're looking at some culture there happening. It's not, without culture you cannot, right? That's great about the hijab you came up with, but some limited religious beliefs which they have to follow with the norm of society, what we. So now comes with Shreya. Let's see what she has to say and what statement.
I totally echo the message that we have in this room. Um, Culture, we build culture to have a sense of belongingness, to help similarity, but not necessarily everything in the culture is right eventually as one grows up. And that's where I say like human rights and are like the most important thing. Um, I'll talk about very recent topics that we are discussing these days, be it on homosexuality. If people like, so in lot of cultures, that's not accepted or appreciated, but now the world has become more open about it, and people get to choose what they like and what they like believe in. A lot of people get married to the wrong gender, and that's not good for either of the person, because if somebody is homosexual and they eventually get married, so that's not good either way. Or like moving out of a very abusive marriage. So in culturally, especially like in Asian cultures, we are kind of encouraged, women are encouraged that if a marriage is not good, if it is abusive in any way, emotional or physical, they're encouraged to like keep it. They are considered as the linking key for it. But now we have started standing up for ourselves, moving out of something that's not supporting us in any way. And that's a human right. Like, nobody has the right to physically or emotionally abuse you, but and you can stand up and move out of it. Or as Shalinji mentioned, like Islamic countries, hijab, and there's so much restrictions on the Islam women, or like people who are in North Korea, that we have heard so many stories of people who were oppressed, suppressed, and tortured, and they came to US and shared about it. Like there was a lady called Asani who was killed for protesting against hijab in Iran. And now whole country is aware about it and they're standing against it. So there are few people who bring these, who sacrifice their life for these issues, like cultural issues, and for the sake of human rights. So human rights are
So
essentially very important. And yeah, these were my thoughts.
that's great. I mean, this discussion here, rather than being a debate, I see like all the contestants here, they all the statement, and I believe that statement too. But let's see, okay, we are not judging here. Like, what aspects of culture do you believe strongly in? Agree, we have to be like, human. That comes with human kindness and love. But culture, every person here, like, you should have something like a bond where you have beliefs. So I want to see like what believe in your culture you believe to promote your future generations. Let's start with Sonika. What do you think that your culture where can grow someone else?
Okay, thanks again, Isha. So I have born and brought up in Indian culture, and I respect Indian culture a lot. Few things that I like about my culture is living together. In India, we do not just move out of the house, during our um, um, college studies or during our jobs. So many of us have to move out due to better prospects, but generally, in our cultural values, we live together with our parents and sometimes with our other relatives also, like uncles and aunts. So I really appreciate that bonding, that living, that togetherness that we share throughout our life. And many generations live together in a house, and there are grandparents, grandchildren, and they live happily with
together.
so much love. I really appreciate that. And
Thanks for sharing
other
that.
things,
Go ahead.
yes, thanks, Isha.
Mhm.
Yes, and other thing that I like very much in Indian culture is we try to balance out, we to adjust, and we try to जैसे हम हिंदी में कहते हैं रिश्ते निभाना. We just don't break the relations for trivial matters or trivial fights concerns. We try to maintain that relationship, that bonding with everyone we meet, be it our relatives, husband or wife, even with children, with our elders. So I really appreciate that Indians value relationships, and relationships go a long way in your life for country's stability and continuity. So again, yes, India believes in
Thank
togetherness.
you, Sonika. That's great. It's all about traditions too, right? Relationships, yes. Especially the generations to generations, we want to stay together. The joint family. What awesome. So now let's see Fani Patel, what she needs to say about traditions or beliefs that she wants to promote.
Fast that scene, the first thing that came up to me was the language. Is I'm Gujarati at home, growing up with grandparents, mom, dad, but being a first generation Indian, we've always gotten like, if I started speaking Gujarati or say Hindi with another cousin that was brought up in India, they would be very shocked. They'd be like, wow, you're grown up here and you know the language. So even though we're grown up here, it's still not that we've forgotten that language barrier, that culture. Because I feel like being able to speak that language in a way connects with our people. So I think not just Indian language, even any language in the country, in any other country, it takes you a long way, no matter where you are. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. The language, yes. That's the reason it's called as mother tongue. The roots and essence of where we belong to.
Yeah. And I feel like that's definitely
great.
Also something that I would want to pass on to my kids, wherever they're born. It's like that's an identity to myself and my kids. So
yeah, of course. Like here in US, when you raise your kids, the thing is like you send them, especially my kids, I said they can learn Hindi language. Right. So now they can, write Hindi, and that's what we do. So I get that point which is coming from.
Because when we're like all younger, it's like I guess we didn't appreciate that second language or third language. But as we grow, it's definitely something like you appreciate more, being able to speak more than one language.
So right. Do you have that? I know there's another topic coming here. So when you go outside, right, when you mingle with your friends and something, especially, which say there is some, your generation, you're speaking Gujarati speaking, but your generation, what language do you guys speak together? Is it Gujarati?
Yeah. So definitely when I'm hanging out with friends, I'm not even gonna lie, it will be English, but it's for those friends that we are closer or best friends. There's always one or a couple statements that we add in Gujarati, to add to that. So there's always like the masala to the food.
So true. Well, thank you for being so honest. I appreciate it, Shalini. Let's see what her thoughts are and her beliefs that makes her strong.
So the one good thing about Indian culture is the marriage system. Though it is somewhat rudimentary and it imposes restrictions, the flexibility to take divorce is not accepted as much. And people always think there should be abusive husband who is either beating up the wife or drinking alcohol, these kind of movie film kind of mentality, they will think should be the reason for divorce. But a simple opinions not matching and two different personalities who cannot gel together can also go for a divorce. So the good thing culture wise is so many couples are like 50 plus years married from India, which is very good, and it's a big deal if you talk with any other culture person. To stay in the marriage for 50 years or so is like a huge deal. But again, from the heart, do you really want to be together like that? Is something we should all question ourselves. And it's always good to live true to yourself, not true to the society or the cultural beliefs.
Nice, so nicely put. I know, like, the good part about that, as you mentioned, the relationship. That's the reason, I'm not just saying, but that's the reason that in Indian culture, because we believe in so many values and so many traditions. Sometimes if you don't have self-esteem and self-respect, then there's no value in that relationship. So definitely, it's like a pondering, still they think that, parents sometimes they don't support the daughters or the husband's decision. It's either way. Both need to be in an equality when they're in their relationship. So thank you, Charlie, point for us and making us more in the broad aspect of living in a life with freedom, including a traditional beliefs. So let's move to Shreya Gupta. Let's see what she's proud about being, what culture she's holding on to.
Thank you, Isha. So I am from Indian culture, and the beauty of my culture is that in our culture we are taught every human. We don't see anybody above us or below us, be it elder in age or younger in age. It's always respect first. So anybody who meets or who I interact with, it always starts from respect, giving respect to the other person, and that's like what's kind of built up in me from my culture. So that's one thing I really like appreciate about my culture. And the other thing is unity and diversity. So India is a country with so many cultures, so many different languages, so many festivals, colors and like vibrations, like high vibrations all
So
around.
true.
And
So
still
true.
we come along with each other so nicely, learn from each other, respect each other, be it at a nuclear level, that is our family level, or be it at a community level, that is meeting different people from different communities. So that's something that's ingrained in us. And when we bring this culture of collectivism to this country of individualistic country, even like I have friends who are American who actually like Indian a lot, like Indian culture a lot. Why? Because they feel so much loved, so much belong, because of that collective culture of ours than an individualistic culture. So I'm truly and very much proud of that warmth and good values that we hold.
That's amazing. That's great points there. Put culture is very important for us. I think the survival for our Indians, you know, and pressure, whether it's mental awareness or whether it's physical, whatever we take it, we start a cultural diversity because we have been grown up with such a secularism with democracy, what they have given us the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and as an human being, and being humble and kind, that comes from the roots of it. So thank you for expressing that with us, Shri. I appreciate it. Now we have Saloni. A quick question, Saloni. You were born and brought up here in US?
Yeah, I've been brought up here in US.
That's amazing because this is going to be a very interesting. You are a generation, so
Yeah, so
please
I
let us
do.
know. Yeah, let us know
Yeah,
about your beliefs and believe in and what your culture holds you.
Yeah, of course. So when I was younger, my mom always told me to respect everyone, all my elders, all my friends. And when someone was rude to me, instead of being rude back to them, I would tell them why they're mad at me or what I did wrong. And my friends at school would just be rude back to them. And so, really being part of the Indian culture and learning these things when I was younger, it's really helped me grow up. Also, I'm really proud to be a vegetarian. And most people are, when I was younger, I would get bullied, and people would be like, wow, why are you so weird? Why are you a vegetarian? And when I was younger, I'd be like, okay, well, I want to fit in, I want to eat meat. But as I've grown up, being a vegetarian is just really who I am. And I could never imagine eating meat now. And so I'm just really proud to be an Indian.
Oh, that's a great point. I know, like being in where you have to adjust because most of us, we already have a background of Indian cuisine, but your generation is so adaptive, and I'm feel so proud of you. This kind of, they have to learn every day, and we learn from you because we have to learn American culture here to this place, and that's what the lines of culture and diversity come in. Whether it's American, if you don't have a golden heart, you don't belong anywhere, right? Sharing all your thoughts, and here comes something I want to share. So now comes the tradition. So what traditions you don't like in your culture and you don't want to promote it? Like, what bothers you being in your tradition and tying, like, you feel like traditions. So I want to hear that thoughts about you. What you think that it's not strong enough, be there or eliminate it, and why you think that the civil rights are more. That's the main statement here. Like, your traditions are who you are. You keep them because you are into that system. So let's start with Charlene. See, ask her what she thinks that she should not have in a tradition. I hope I'm not stirring the pots.
The No, the tradition that I personally do not like from Indian culture is the concept of caste system. It was set up with a good intention to organize work and to teach work to the next generation. But from then we moved on, and everybody is doing the choice of what they really like. And then came the reservations, and it is predominantly caste based. And after independence, we are now in like the third generation almost, and the reservations keep on going based on the caste. And in this time, some affluent families must have become poor, and some poor families must have become rich. But because of the inequality, reservations are bringing in lot of good people or losing opportunities from following their path. So I think we have come far enough that we need to revisit some of these reservation policies and caste systems and completely eliminate it from our birth certificate and everywhere. And we should be one religion, that is Indian.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, because our article number 17 is untouchable, which was by Dr. Ambedkar, 1950 Constitution. So I get that point, and then thank you for putting. I love it because this is all about humankind. You are in one line, one state. It's not about caste anymore. But do you believe in women quota, though, the one that gives? What do you think about that?
That's a very interesting point. So when when I did my engineering, there is no women's quota, and from the next year it started. And there were enough people who wrote the MSET exam, and then whoever wrote the MSET exam, whoever is a woman got the seat. Since in India, there is a gender inequality and gender discrimination. And whenever a woman is educated, the entire family becomes educated, and the society will leap forward so much more faster than in any other way. So, having that cushion for women is definitely recommended.
Oh, wonderful. Great point there. Awesome. Yes. तो जननी को तो कुछ देना पड़ेगा, right? So thank you, Shalini ji. Appreciate it. Penny Patel, what are your thoughts? Like, what kind of bothers you about your traditions?
So one thing that came into mind was it's kind of like a cycle, especially with women versus like Indian men. I feel like women are tended, we're grown up saying, you got to grow up, you got to get an education, go to high school, and then go to college, do good grades, get a good job, and then get married. Which I feel like that's been for years, and now our generation, our women are speaking up. And when you go to school, get a job, get married, it's like when you get married, you have your kids, you have a family to take care of. In your whole life, Indian women never really got the chance to do what they wanted, because they were either afraid to speak up, or they were like, if I do this, or if I model, or if I do a pageant, society's going to say something else. So now, like pageants like Miss Bharat USA, modeling, I feel like Indian women are using these platforms to show Indian women and women of other cultures that, okay, we can also do something besides get a job, get an education, and take care of family. Like an Indian woman can do everything. She doesn't just have to take care of her family or do a job. She can do what she likes too.
Absolutely.
So that's very important.
Realize that Rashmi Bedi ji and Janak Bedi ji, they do such a this are beautiful women like us, and this stage is not just for women. Yes, the ages from like younger kids, like tweens, teens, classic. This is the group right now in front of me with different categories here. So I'll take this opportunity to thank Rashmi ji and Janak ji for creating Miss Bharat. Contestants like you make them proud. So thank you for putting that word out for us. Let's hear from our younger generation, Saloni, what she has to say.
Yeah, so basically, what I have to say is not really a tradition, but more of an expectation from my parents. I'm expected to get 100 and A+ in everything I do in school. And I feel like most Indian parents do that to their kids. But I know they mean well. Like, I know they're trying to do what's right for me and what's good for me. But sometimes I feel like I need a break. And I feel like they should let me, like, take a break from studying and stuff. So being able to go into these national pageants, it's really exciting for me. And it really just gives me a break from all my schoolwork. Thank you.
Oh, this is awesome. Thank you. It's a great perspective too. This comes with generations. It's not just us. I think I know, I've been like seeing American culture for 16 years now. Like what other Americans do with Indian culture. But back home in India, they're only 2 years or a doctor. You don't do anything else. So we have that mindset there. Since we want the same installation with our kids when we are here. So unfortunately, you are into that little map of growing with these two professions, and you get that yes, these pageants are important, but I don't know how I will be as a good parent. I still think that sports is extracurricular. It's not into curricular yet in my field. I'm focusing on being a good mom, but it's hard when it comes to why A only? Why not A+? Plus is always a plus, right? I appreciate it. So let's go with Sonika. What she
Thanks, Isha. All right, so there are two things in our society that I do not like. I even hate these two things. First is giving preference to sons over daughters. So still in this age, people abort female fetus and they cry when they have a daughter, when a girl is born, and they are happy with the sons. They want brides, but they don't want daughters. So this is really unfortunate, and it makes me feel disheartened that still in baby showers, they pray in the ear of the would be mother to have a Bal Gopal and not never. It never happened, I think. So this is one thing that troubles me a lot. And second thing is beauty expectations. There are very strict beauty standards that are forced upon every Indian girl. You have to have a certain height, certain figure, weight, and you should look fair. You should, if you have dark complexion, you face so many harsh comments in the society, and if you are overweight, you have to face body shaming. This is one thing that is prevalent, I have seen in almost all families, you know
Oh yeah,
and this is
definitely.
really unfortunate that uh, if we compare to men, boys, they face this kind of body shaming or comments related to your complexion. There are very less chances, but women, girls, they have to face it a lot, and this is the pressure they create on themselves. Then to meet the expectations of others, they try to look fair, they try to look taller by wearing painful heels. They try to lose weight all the time. They go through diets. I have never seen any diets, after a certain age when their gym fever is gone. They are happy with their body. But females are rarely satisfied with their looks. So this is not by birth. This is the pressure that society gives them. And Indian culture, I hate to say that this culture promotes that pressure on women. So I would want to eliminate that practice at all from India. Thank you, Isha.
Very, it's a very sensitive topic that, being raised myself in a joint family, I have been cousins together and different complexions growing together, and one looking the way, you had your grandma, grandpa with all the conservative principles attached towards the fair and lovely little tube there, or Biko Turmeric, those are the brand British trying to brand them up to look beautiful and to be elegant. So that's being said, thank you for putting that on. And guess what, Miss Bharat, I didn't have to diet myself. I didn't change my any diet plans, and I didn't change outfits. It didn't give me any opportunity to where I changed myself to be present. So that's being said, this platform is all for you to shine and who you are yourself on the stage. So Miss Bharat USA contestants, you guys are going to rock. Yeah, the opportunity to speak next. So I think you're the one who are left here to say about chance to speak.
Thank you, Isha ji. So
Yeah.
the things like our culture is beautiful, but definitely it's not perfect and has a lot of loopholes. Some of them, which I don't particularly like, is dowry. So why a girl becomes a burden to a family, or why they see it as a burden, because they see, okay, we have to raise her, and for her marriage we have to pay, like give a dowry, and then she's gonna leave. So girl, as the time born, she's seen as a burden to a lot of families. But I'm glad this mentality is changing, and we are like part of this change. But still, like, this is very prevalent in India. The change is very subtle and need to be expanded a lot, and we become that voice who's got this opportunity to actually promote that change. So I really don't like that dowry system in India. uh, Highly educated girls, beautiful girls, but when they go for marriage, they again bring the topic of dowry. A lot of people still, educated people, educated sons, they don't stand against it. They actually, promote that. So That's one thing. And the second is, after marriage, a lot of women are pressurized to have babies. Like, it's a woman's right to choose to have a baby or not. But the society, especially Indian society, the minute you get married, it's like the relatives, not the family members, but the relatives and all people around, they create that your biological clock is ticking, or something is like, they create an inner fear of that you're gonna miss out if you're not gonna have a baby. And also, like, emotional blackmail that
Right.
the
Yes.
grandma want to see to have play with the grandchild before she dies or something. So I think I don't like those aspects of our Indian society where women are pressurized to do things against their will, and because the family wants it or the family needs it. And the other thing that I do want to highlight is some more religious culture things that we have is, in terms of tradition or religion, we see a lot of food getting wasted during religious events, or which can actually be used to give it to poor people or people who die out of hunger. Or sometimes, like, we see how river Ganga is polluted with
Right.
lot of religious things dumped into it. So people need to be educated that that's a very pure and holy river, and we have created so much pollution and actually blocked that river, that in name of religion, in name of like, that is where we should put our religious stuff. So I also don't like that. That's like creating environmental pollution and polluting our holy river, whose water is holy to heal lot of ailments. So I don't promote that either.
Well, thank you, Dowry, the pollution, the myths about the things which we try of tradition, and at the second time, like it's not good for the whole society. The river Ganges, yes, that's a great point with all the holy thing, and then you kind of pollute the same river. Thank you, Shreya, for putting up here, and thank you everyone for joining. It was a great, interesting, with different aspects of beliefs, the traditions, the honor killing. There's other so many topics in depth and very sensitive to. We are like, okay, do we need to believe in this, or just there are other way, like whether it's Raksha Bandhan where you're talking about sibling love and protect, or the other traditions which we hold, like Holi, Diwali, cultures, the Jewish cultures, the Christianity cultures. We are here to embrace love and humanity. If we don't, I want to end up with saying a note here. As long as we are within those that love, compassion, and care, and the main important thing is, if we have anything belongs, any religion beyond human rights, and where there's no compassion, there is no kindness, then nothing, right? So all the best, guys, for your upcoming Mrs. Bharat USA, Miss Category, Mrs. Category. I see, and and classic here. So thanking Janakji and Rashmi ji, giving us this great platform for Miss Bharat US web series of debate. I'm loving these series already, watching it and streaming it all. And thank you again, Tumhari Dost, Hamdam, Isha Jaiswal will be signing. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Isha.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.